Victor, we are here for your comeback. And we were just talking about teams that would make sense for you. But let's rewind to last month. The private workout in Las Vegas that you orchestrated, you invited general managers and scouts. How did that go? How do you think you performed? What was the feedback you got from that?
I mean, it went really well. I got great feedback. It was quite a few teams there. Also, beat writers were there. Scouts were in the cut and hiding in there as well. So, I was, honestly, I was just overwhelmed with emotion, just because of, the game. It's the game I love, and I'm just not going to give up on it. So, to see everyone come out there and it be such a great turnout was just a blessing, and I was thankful.
It was great to see. Ashley, come on in here.
Yeah. So again, thank you for being here. I want to kind of rewind back and then come to the present moment here. You were drafted second overall to NBA All-Star, most improved player, to now fighting for a chance to play in the NBA again. What did it teach you about your identity outside of basketball? And what is keeping you walking away from the game?
Well, great question. You know, it has taught me more than I could even explain about myself. And it taught me what others see that I didn't see in myself. And now I finally am at a point in my life where I can honestly sit here and say, I know who I am. And it's teaching me a lot about my character, my heart, and my will. And, I identify with those things, and it makes me who I am. As far as walking away, this basketball journey for me wasn't a no brainer. I wasn't a no brainer player. It wasn't like I was top 10 in high school. It wasn't like I was McDonald's All American. It wasn't like I was highly souted out my first year in college or one and done. Imagine if I would have walked away during that time, what my career would have been,
true.
what my life would have been, right? Exactly. So for me, I don't listen to people's opinions. No disrespect to anyone. I mean, granted, we all are allowed to have them. And granted, the lay of the land, sometimes, it makes sense what you see, right? But for me, seeing has never been believing. Believing has been seeing. So even though I didn't see it and it wasn't tangible, I knew I could achieve it. So the reality is, for me right now, I would never give up on myself, let alone a game that I love. I would never give up on someone I love, and I love the game that much. I have a unique situation as far as, like, I have an 11-year tenure, but I only play 6 years worth of games. People might say, like, I'm 34, but I don't feel 34, and honestly, age is an illusion. So for me, I'm just bettering myself every day and focusing on what I can control. That's my approach, my health, how I feel.
He was spitting. When you spitting like that,
He was
man.
spitting. What happened? Where'd he go?
What?
Y'all can hear me? Y'all get that?
Yeah,
Just making
yeah.
sure.
I could hear you.
So that's really all I'm focused on, is just, the controllables. And,
We
you
can't
know,
see you.
okay,
There you
well,
are.
I'm focused on the controllables. Can you see me now? Okay. I'm focused
Yes.
on the controllables, and then everything else, the powers that be will take care of. So
So I wanted to follow up on that. If a NBA GM called you right now, what version of Victor Oladipo are they getting? And how have the injuries maybe changed your game a little bit? Or are you still the same guy?
I'm never the same. I'm always improving. So I would say you would get the best version of Victor Oladipo. And the best version is the most balanced one. I think when I was young, it was just like go, go, go as fast as I can. Now, being wiser, it's about knowing when to use that speed and knowing when to change my speeds, and just being a smarter basketball player. I think the unique thing about me is in my career, I've played in pretty much every role you can think of. So I've been the guy, I've played off the ball, I've played on the ball, I've come off the bench, you know what I mean? I played in the G, like I've been in every situation you can possibly imagine as far as roles go in the game of basketball in the NBA. And I think that's unique because I can help any team win in any role. So I think you would be getting a steal with a player like me because I know my capabilities and I'm pretty sure everyone else does. But at the same time, I compliment players and people really well as well. So that's what I would say.
B-Doc, come in here.
All right, Vic, man. I want to just take it, outside of basketball a little bit, man. Like, what is your preparation off the court? What are you doing to, because your basketball is life. So just to get your mental correct, like what is a typical day, non-basketball related day with Vic? Look, are you still doing music? What are the hobbies that you do to get your mind off basketball to come back to it and to give it your all?
Well, I'm never gonna stop singing, bro. I was singing 2 seconds ago before we got on before we got on air.
Yes.
But music just is something that it just makes me feel better. I don't know how else to explain it. I know music lovers will understand that, but it just made me feel better. So I would never not sing. I would never not listen to music. As far as preparation, I do a lot of disconnecting. If I'm being honest, a lot more disconnecting than I did in the beginning of my career. People have a lot of opinions and people have a lot of things to say, but I think it was Oprah who said it in an interview. Sometimes you have to get that stillness in order to hear when God speaks to you. So I've been doing a lot of disconnecting and just spending a lot of time on my own and by myself, as well as with my daughter and my family, and just listening to the depths of who I am and like I said, the power within me. So other than that, I'm working at God's pace, doing God's work, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like, and doing what I love. So it's been better to balance as far as like, knowing that, I have this over here and this is what Victor does. And then when I go to the court, it's a totally different human being. So finally finding that balance within myself has been really beneficial.
No, I love that, man. I'm glad. I'm glad you're good and healthy, physically, mentally, and spiritually and emotionally, man. And
Thank you.
we wish you the
Thank you,
best of
brother.
luck. We wish you the best of God's will, and we already know you're
Thank
gonna
you,
be
brother.
back. So it's
Thank
already
you, bro.
it's already manifested, bro.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. I received that. Thank you.
Come on in, Dwight.
We can't hear you, Dwight. I can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Say it. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you.
You and I share a mutual friend in Phil Handy. Phil Handy has dealt with Kyrie, the late great Kobe Bryant, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard. I was trying to get him onto the show today because you were coming on today, but he's currently in Japan right now, so we couldn't work out the specifics, but he'll come on the show at one point. Just tell me how important he has been to you in terms of this comeback. Again, I've known Phil since 2012, 2013. His reputation, his credentials speak for themselves. How integral a part of your comeback has Phil Handy been?
I mean, he's been essential to say the least. That pro day he did for me, and I've worked out with him quite a few times even before that. But like
Yeah.
him doing that pro day, even after the loss in his family,
Right,
I
right.
can't really describe the words for a human being to go through that and still like it was a part of the reason why I got so emotional is because there are people out there who are like-minded, are like you. I mean, are cut from a similar cloth than you. It's not it isn't all negative and trying to take advantage, and it's not all of that, right? There's people out here who, will sacrifice their feelings for you. And for me, I told Phil, I said, man, it don't matter if I never see you again, whatever you need in life, bro, I got you. Like, it is beyond words and beyond a description, the amount of love and appreciation I have for him, and for him doing that for me and my family. Obviously, he's worked with so many great players, and he's done so many great things prior to even meeting me. But for him to take the time to do that for me is something I would cherish for the rest of my life.
Well, as a God-fearing man myself, we all know that through God, all things are possible. And just stick with the plan. Good things are going to happen to you, whether it's in basketball or not. There is a purpose for you here. We're all pulling for you, obviously, to get back into the NBA. But with people like Phil and the right people in your corner, it's going to work out. Somebody will give you an opportunity. You just got to take advantage of it, run with it. Just stay the course, bro. Things are going to work out for you. God bless you, man.
Thank
For
you,
real.
brother. Same,
For
same
real.
to you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Victor, I want to go back to something you said earlier in this interview. You said, I know who I am. Who is Victor Oladipo?
Victor Oladipo is a man that moves mountains. Victor Oladipo is someone that he elevates over adversity. Victor Oladipo is somebody that doesn't detour because God's delay does not mean God's denial. Victor Oladipo is someone who loves the game so much that he's not willing to let it go on a bad note. He wants to, just like any relationship that he really would care about, he wants to reconcile and leave it on a good note, on a high note. Because, like I said in the interview a long time ago, I'm in love with the game. Have I been in love with someone in like a person? Yeah, it would be tough to say that until I met my little girl, of course. But like, it's a back and forth relationship. It's a love, and then sometimes it's not so lovely. But I just want to leave the game that I've sacrificed and done everything for in my life. I want to leave it on the highest note I can leave it, and I'm talking about a cappella, the every single note. I want to leave it on the highest note possible. And yeah, that's who I am. I'm somebody that won't quit, and I'm going to keep coming. And that's just how I've always been. It's why I was successful, and it's why I will be in the future.
Victor, thank you for that answer. That was incredible. I want to go back, Victor, to your best season. Your first season with the Indiana Pacers, 23, 5 and 4, 2.4 steals. You led the league. You made your first All-Star team. You won Most Improved. You were All NBA. You were first team all defense. Okay. Somewhere Tony Allen is saying that. Victor was first team all defense. Okay. So Vic, you were on top of the world at that point. What was that year like in Indiana when you were really the apex of your NBA career and all of the accomplishments and all the attention was coming to you, man? How was that for you?
Man, it was unlike anything explainable. Like, you can't put into words how much that year was just breathtaking. Like, it was everything you could imagine. You dream of that as a kid. It's like, I wanted that in Orlando, couldn't get it. I wanted to team up with Russ, really couldn't get it. And then you get to Indiana and they make you the face of the franchise. And not only do they make you that, then you show them why that was the smartest thing they could have done right after that. So it was unbelievable. And then to do it in a place where they already had embraced me in college, and I had done great things already in that state. It's just, it's a home away from home. So like it was like going back home and scoring 50 in front of your family, but like doing it every night. It was great. Like it was an unbelievable experience. And then, obviously to go up against Braun and take him to 7 games, and our team was just so, fluid, and we played so well together, and people weren't expecting us to be that good. And no, it was just great. It was great to be a part of, and it's a year I'll always remember, obviously, and it's something I'll never forget.
Dwight, Ashley, B-Dot, if you guys have another question or two, come on in here whenever you want.
A question or two? I got a million questions. I'm just trying to figure out which ones I want to ask. I always have a million questions. I have to like narrow it down, but you mentioned something earlier, and I just want to say, like, you're well known across the league as just someone who's so humble. You're not just a great basketball player, but you are an amazing person off the court. And when you mention like you're able to do anything a team asks you to do, and as a number 2 pick to a guy that led a franchise to someone that's willing to take more of a backseat role if you need to, we don't see that with a lot of NBA players today, right? There's guys that want their team. They want to be the main guy. What can you say about that? And like, where does this humbleness come from?
Well, first and foremost, I can understand that, especially, if I'm being just honest and frank, how basketball is advertised. We all are kids, and we all grow up wanting to be our favorite players. We all grow up wanting to be the Michael Jordans, the LeBron Jameses, the Steph Currys of this league. So it's understandable when guys get to this point, and that's what they want, because I mean that's all they've wanted their whole lives. So I get it. If I had to respond to it, I would say, in order to win, Jordan needed Pippen and everyone else. If I'm being honest, like, so yes, it's great to be in that role, and yes, it's something that you want and aspire for, but just understand in that role comes the responsibility of knowing that you can't win alone. It's not possible. Like, there's no one who's done it. Someone had help. Everyone had help. Like, it's not possible. So just understanding that it's a team sport, even though we advertise individual players, it's a part of the reason why I'm so humble when it comes to the game. Like, every night even when I was in Indy and I was scoring 23 a night, every night wasn't my night. There are some nights Bojan Bogdanovic, Domas Sabonis. There was some nights other guys got off. You know what I mean? It's just the reality of a team sport. It's just, it's advertised differently. Which I get, is how it is. I'm not saying I'm not, it's no criticisms. It's just, you got to understand the psyche of a human being and why, certain habits come of it afterwards, So I get it, but just never forget, like it's 5-on-5 out there. None of us can play 1-on-5. That's not happening. So, just have that understanding, and with that responsibility, just have that balance of really focusing on trying to make your teammates better, because that's going to help you win. And winning solves all in our league. I still believe that to this day. So,
And then
as
speaking
far
of
as
making,
humility,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. As far as humility, I got 3 sisters, my mom and my dad. So that's where the humility come from. I'm being
Well, I love
honest.
it. They raised you right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So then, like you were saying, speaking of making your teammates better, I know that there's talks of potentially the Kings looking to sign you, and also just use you as more of also a mentorship role to some of the younger guys, and be there for them. Is there anyone in particular in this rookie class that you'd be like, man, that'd be so cool to mentor them? And then also talk about the importance of being a veteran in the league. I mean, we're seeing a lot of guys, I feel like, get booted a little bit more quickly these days because they're starting to go younger. But there is this importance of having veteran leadership, especially if you want to compete at the highest level. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, first off, to answer your first question, I spend a lot of time with this draft class at the combine, at the draft, and mentoring them in more ways than one. So I don't just want to be a mentor to, I want to be a mentor to everyone, not just one guy, not just young guys, but to everyone. I mentored the whole class, so they honestly mean a lot to me. Just because that was like the first class I actually, went back and just gave my advice and gave, my 2 cents on my experience and what they might be looking forward to. So they like my little brothers, you know what I'm saying? So I really want them to do well. Just because, obviously I played it's a somewhat of a role in their development as far as like getting through the draft and stuff. So yeah, obviously I mean I mentor just people in my everyday life. So like any way I can give advice or even get advice from, because you can learn from everyone. I can learn from those kids too. It wasn't just a one-way street. It was back and forth communication in those rooms. So like, I was learning from them just as much as they were learning from me, which is I think is the power of learning and how we can make the most out of any relationship. As far as veteran leadership in the locker room, I think it's essential to winning. I mean, it's it's how it's always been, I feel like, I mean, experience is something that you can't be taught. It just can't. You can't teach experience. You have to experience it and gain it, right? So, like having those veterans in the locker rooms with that experience that have been in as many wars as I've been in, if not more, I think is essential and is pivotal to when those times come and you're trying to, develop the younger guys and develop everyone to have a winning pedigree. I think it's important. So unless you don't want to win, then I guess that it's a little different. Maybe it's more of a mentorship on off the floor, and just trying to help them be better men and better professionals. I think that's important, even if you're not trying to win too. So I think it goes for both scenarios.
Thank you so much. You always give such great in-depth answers. So that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was.
No problem. Thanks.
Indeed. Go ahead, Dwight.
Vic, it's been documented that you met with the Sacramento Kings while you were in Vegas. You've even flown out to Sacramento to meet with the Kings brass. I don't know who else you've spoken with, but when you're speaking with teams, either through your agent or yourself personally, how do those conversations go? Do you find them being honest? Do they have genuine interest in your services? Of course, they're going to talk to you about your injuries and your process of trying to get back to the NBA and your success, as far as I'm concerned, in the G League. When you're having those discussions, how honest and how genuine do you think the team or teams have been with you throughout this process?
It's never easy to tell. As far as like, you can't just be like 100% like, oh yeah, this is this, right? Because you aren't in every room, you're not in every conversation, right? But at the same time, I don't think these organizations will waste their time if there was no interest, especially with my history and what I've been through already. I don't think I think time is precious, so I don't necessarily think they would be wasting their time if there wasn't a legit interest in me coming in and helping their organization. As far as business wise, I'm smart enough and been in this business enough to know, like, obviously, I'm not in the rooms when they're having their conversations with the coaching staff or with the scouts or with the front office. But as far as the conversations go, it's just being honest. I'm just honest with who I am, where I'm at in my career, and I understand, like, I'm not here to step on anyone's toes. I'm literally here to help you win and help your program be better than it was before. So whatever role that looks like, I want to echo the coach and be a leader and lead from the back. Like I want to help the guys. I straight up told them like I can it's a different makeup the league in my opinion than it used to be as far as like winning mattering and people being rewarded for winning. Now you get rewarded regardless of if you win or not, which is great. You know what I mean? Because which is great. You know what I mean? There's no again no criticisms. It's great. I want to see all my brothers win. But as far as like camaraderie and trying to win a championship and do something bigger than ourselves, you know, it might get a little dicey as far as the coaching staff goes and trying to convince a group of guys that we should come together and really fight for something, you know, bigger than ourselves. But as far as having me on your team, I am living representation on why moments matter and how moments can be here today and gone tomorrow. So being that representation and also echoing this ideology of understanding that we can come together and when we win, we all eat. I don't think there's any better representation than someone who's actually has come from hell and back, if I'm being honest. So that's what I pretty much told him.
My follow up to that is, do you think the new collective bargaining agreement has a lot to do with what you just said? While the new CBA has created parity across the league and we haven't had a repeat champion since 2017, do you think the new CBA has created that lack of loyalty or that lack of togetherness to where, you know what, let me get it in right now because in 2 or 3 years, because of the new CBA, the GM is going to have to make a decision on me or some of my other teammates in order to create a roster that could stay out of the first and second apron, stay out of the luxury tax, stay in competition with the salary cap. Do you think the new CBA has created what you just alluded to or what you just spoke about?
You know, this is again no criticisms to anyone. But you know, I think it did definitely play a little part in it. But not just to single out the NBA. Sometimes just in life, in our ecosystem, money can kind of, you know, make things a little different. Let's just say that. Money can, especially when things are inflated, you know, and things are expanding, you know, it can get a little tough to balance everything out, you know. And I've done a lot of interning, so to speak, or visiting of both the NBA office and the NBPA office. And first and foremost, it's great human beings in there working really hard, trying to find balance in between the players, the owners, and the NBA business as a whole. And they're doing great. Like it's a bunch of great people in there. Like I spend 4 days in the NBA office and then I spend 48 hours in the PA office. Like they're doing a great job. They're really working hard trying to find a solid balance. But when there is, I call it chicken. When there is a lot of chicken, it's hard because you know it's hard to balance everything out, first and foremost. But at the same time, it you can't sit here and not think that it doesn't play a role, you know, as far as, you know, it not being as balanced as far as the distribution in the CBA and, you know, the kind of the front half of the players making most of the money and, you know, the middle half and the lower half, you know, kind of getting a little bit of the scraps, so to speak, you know. That's how guys kind of feel right now, which I understand, you know, and why there could be an imbalance and why guys are kind of more so focused on just making as much money as they can rather than
Right.
trying to, you know, come build some camaraderie and build a team aspect of, you know, trying to, you know, win and compete for a championship. So, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, we in this, right? So we could sit here and, you know, I could say, oh, it's this and it's this, and why did they do this and why did they do that? But you know, that's not going to do anything but, you know, maybe get a couple likes. But I think the reality is now we are as far as like Andre Iguodala being at the PA and, you know, me meeting with the NBA player engagement team, and everyone is really trying to figure out balance and work together to make this a better environment, not only for the players, but for the fans as well. And I think that is the biggest and most important thing is that we all stay on the same page and we all continue to build to make it more beneficial and make it the best product that it can possibly be, because the game is pure. And the things, the building around it, or the sphere around it, which is the business of basketball, if we got to do some work to build it out, let's just keep working and building it out and come to a compromise. I don't think it should be that complicated, and I think we have the right people in place to help us make sure it's better in the future.
B-Dot, do you have one last question? I'm going to hit him, Victor, with a couple questions on the way out. Do you have one or two last questions for Vic?
Yeah, I just got one simple question, man. Vic, before you came on, we was doing the whole what if players, top 5 what if players, barring injury or anything that happened in their career, from the Len Biases to the Penny Hardaways. Who is your top 5 what if players?
Just as far as like, if nothing happened.
Yep, if nothing happened, yep. Whether there's injury, whether there's some life-changing situation.
I would say D Rose, Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, Sean Livingston.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Funny. Sean Livingston. Let me think about that. Sean Livingston, and then I guess I'll put myself in there. I'll put myself in
Absolutely.
there. I guess I'll put myself in there. But I'm not I honestly, not yet. I can't put myself in there just
So
yet.
I'm saying that's the reason why we
I
include you in the
still
first
got a
one.
lot of left, and I can't put myself in there just yet.
There
Maybe
you go.
after I retire, we can put myself in there. But the last one,
Just go ahead and throw Len. Just go ahead and throw Len Bias. Go ahead and throw Len Bias in there.
Len
That's what it
Bias.
is.
Len Bias.
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Rest in peace. They was calling him the next Jordan. I mean, I'm
Come on
him
now.
down the street.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. That's
Grant
a tough
Hill.
one. Yeah, that
Grant Hill, Bill Walton.
Grant Hill, Bill Walton. Bill Walton has some
T-Mac.
injuries too. Yeah.
T-Mac. Yep.
Tracy
Yeah.
McGrady.
Brandon
Yep.
Roy. It's some man.
Brandon
It's some
Roy.
here.
Oh man, B Roy. And you know what's funny is I'm sorry to I don't know if I'm rambling, but what's interesting is I've been doing a lot of study on the brain and neurology, and it's so amazing how when a lot of us go through these traumatic injuries, because it is some form of trauma. It's incredible how it shapes our realities afterwards, right? It's incredible how it shapes our approach afterwards, how it shapes our reality afterwards, how it shapes our approach with our bodies, with our minds, and with our realities. And it's interesting from doing so much research on it and seeing how stress has kind of been or becoming a leading factor of injury, and how it isn't just a physical imbalance, but it could also be a psychological imbalance as well, contributing to injury.
100%.
I think that it's really interesting because now we have to get into a space, or I want to get into a space where, it might feel uncomfortable, but I'm asking guys about what's going on away from the game, not only in the game, because it could also be contributing to the imbalances that they're having physically. So, and why it might be even harder to recover after injury, and why it's even harder to, kind of get back to themselves even after injury. So I think it's really interesting, and I'm obviously still accumulating some information on it, but I can't wait to be a part of finding the resolution.
Hey Vic, hold on, folks. If I can interject here, it's funny you say that, Vic, because I was having this conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend. How, yes, there is physical injury, the impact. You step wrong, you step on somebody's foot, but the mental aspect to injuries. And if I can single out Aaron Gordon, I think part of our team here with the X-Rated Sports Network, we did a fact check on when Aaron Gordon suffered injuries. he relatively had a pretty injury-free career until a traumatic happening in his family happened. Then the soft injuries followed. So to your point, and if you want to expand even more on it, it's amazing how the mental aspect, the mental health of an elite athlete can lead to injuries just as much as the physical impact. It's amazing to where sports psychologists having a mental health coach, a lifestyle coach is just as paramount as having a person who wants to physically get you in shape to be the best possible version of yourself. But if you can speak to the mental aspect of that, it would be great to hear, because that's truly where I think a lot of injuries, especially in this day and age, have come to the forefront.
You open up a can of worms now, boy. What? Oh man, listen, well, you're spot on. And not only does it, let's not even, it's shaping our reality as the world, as people, as the human race. The reason why we have imbalances is because our minds are out of balance in this world. We're talking about sports. We're just narrowing it down to sports because, I mean, if we're being honest, we are like the hybrids of the world. Like we can run, jump,
Yes.
skip, hop, go crazy, do crazy things, and then all of a sudden this spectacular being can break down. And we're like, well, how? And then never be the same afterwards. Like, how? This human being got to be one of the most incredible athletes we've ever seen, but now he can't be? Like, what is that? But it starts and ends in your mind. Like, including our reality and why things happen in your own reality. It's a almost a direct distribution of the thoughts and feelings you have and what you let lead and what you feed on an everyday basis when it comes to your mental health. And a lot of times, like I had a friend of mine that I was meeting with this weekend, and I asked her, I said, do you work on your mind as much as you work on your body? Do you train your mind like you train your body? She was like, no. I was like, well, your mind is a muscle, right? And she was like, no, I didn't really know that. It's like, well, we don't really teach much about the mind and the brain, do we? It's not really something that is like, curriculum, so to speak, huh? But there's not one human being I can meet that doesn't have a thought every single second of every single day. So I think having a life coach is paramount to someone's success, not only on the court and in their craft, but in life.
It's not to interject because I know that Rick wants to ask a few questions on that, but like I know Rick's like, let me get a question in, but this topic is really important to me too. Because I've also done a lot of reading on this. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, where your body is constantly holding trauma. And like, for example, I work out a lot, but I constantly pull my back. And there's like a correlation there where your back is the stability, right? So if you don't feel stable in your personal life, everything else is going to come crashing down. So no matter how much I train, how heavy I lift, how clean I eat, my back is always the most tense, and I can never loosen it up. So I'm still trying to work on that balance as well. I'm not an athlete at your level by any means, but I do compete in, bodybuilding, and I'm striving to get back on stage again. But I'm noticing that same issue of, my anxiety, high cortisol, and just trying to like use my breath and slow down, as you mentioned, slowing down, disconnecting. But for what we do, it's very hard to do that. So
For sure.
I know there's a lot to unpack there, but I feel it personally, and I know exactly, what athletes or anyone who's dealing with that is going through.
Yeah, I'm actually, I've read the book and I'm re-listening to the book on my drives. The same book.
It's really good.
Right now, currently. To answer your question, but first and foremost, like one thing I want to make sure that something that you said that I really want people to hear is that you said you're not the athlete that I am. 100%. Okay. Yes. But you share the same beginning and end I do. There's no, you were brought into this world the same way, and you will leave this world the same way I do. The in between is the creativity of what we all call God. It's too massive for it to be the same. The beginning and end is the humility and the love that comes with understanding that we come from the same source. So the stress and the stuff that I am talking about, it can help you if you simplify it, saying that this is something for me and I can take this and apply it to me. It could be that simple, just as the way you came into this world and the way you leave it are identical to me. Yes, you're not going to be the athlete. You might not jump as high. You might not run as fast, but you can find some relation in my story and some in the stuff that I've been through. That's one. Two, as far as your body holding stress, it literally can affect how your muscles grow, how you sleep, how you eat, how you feel, and you store it in your hips, in your back, in your neck, and your body has feelings. Just like, the science shows now that trees have feelings and waters have feelings. So we just think that, oh, it's just inside of us. And when we get angry because someone did something we like or don't like, that's the only time we have emotion and can express emotion and store emotion. But it's so much deeper than that, which is not a surprise because the human experience is a deep one, to say the least. It's just we run from it. But I think all that plays a part, especially when you're talking about something as traumatic as injury. Now, there are some people who would say, like, it's just injury. Like, it comes with the sport. It doesn't make it any less traumatic or not. You know what I mean? And a lot of times as athletes, and especially as men, we are taught to like suppress our feelings and be tough. And God forbid we say we don't feel right. And God forbid we say, man, my mind is just not in it today. Like, God forbid we say that, because then your peers might think you weak. Or your father or your brother might say, man, you a man. But I've come to the understanding that being able to identify your weaknesses makes you stronger, and being able to be honest and tell this truth makes you indestructible. So
Yep.
I encourage all my, not only athletes but people in general, to be honest about how you feel, and who cares how people respond to it.
Yep.
Find the person who responds to it in a way that you feel comfortable sharing, and you can grow from there.
Amen. Amen.
Hey,
I
can-
I don't want to interject, but now I'm just playing. You got it, Rick. I'm just playing. You got it. Rick's about to get mad. Rick.
No. This is a phenomenal, beautiful conversation. This is the deepest interview we have had
100%.
on Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Victor, the name of our show is Beyond the Surface. Our patriarch is a sports medicine radiologist, Dr. Phil McDonald. He does X-rays, so X-Rated Sports Network and Dr. X. And so he created this, Beyond the Surface. He wants deep dives on this show. We have never dove deeper than this show. And Victor, you are the reason why. So if I can pull out of that for just a second, I was doing research on you, Victor, and you need to know this, and all my homies know this. I'm a huge, gigantic Russell Westbrook fan. I freaking love Russell Westbrook. It bothers me. Frankly, it infuriates me how the league treats him and the disrespect, but I don't even want to go into all that. You played with Russ in his MVP season, led the league in scoring at 31 a game, 10 boards, 10 dimes, trip dub, the whole thing. Okay. One of the most phenomenal, epic, electric individual seasons in NBA history. And you were the 1B guy to Russ on that Oklahoma City team. What was it like playing with him that year, seeing the greatness that he put out there every single night, and then talk with him about a teammate? Because I'm on this crusade, Victor. So many people bang on Russ, and I always want to play the other side because, Victor, you know, I've been doing this a long time. I have yet to hear one NBA player that played with Russell Westbrook talk trash about him. So talk about that year and then what he was like as a teammate.
Well, first off, he's probably one of the closest teammates I've ever had. Um, it was unbelievable to be around, to experience someone win the MVP award and in the manner that he did it. He was vibrating so high. His frequency was so unique. Like it was unbelievable to be around and to share that and to be a part of. Um, I'm just thankful not only to be able to have met him, but to grow a relationship with him that I still have today. You know, I think that is something that I probably am more grateful for than any pass. You know, just to be able to have the ability to reach out to him and gain his wisdom. As far as his game, this is just my personal opinion. I think Russ has always been an acquired taste when it comes to the game of basketball. I think
Right.
that he's always been an acquired taste. It's what made him great. It's what made him so unique. It's what made him so stand out. You know, he came in and was as explosive and was super unique at the point guard position. And the only other person probably around that time that we saw of like ability was Derrick Rose. You know, it wasn't like we weren't seeing guards and point guards move like that and do that, what he was doing. So I think people are just, you know, he stands on business. He gonna be who he is. He gonna be what he's gonna do, what got him there, what made him successful, and he not gonna take no BS if I'm being honest. And you know, a lot of people don't like that, you know, and that's fine. But as far as a teammate, like you said, you won't ever meet anyone that has a complaint about him as a teammate because he is that good of a teammate. You know what I mean? Like as far as a human being, like away from basketball, like it's not many better human beings you're gonna find. Trust me. It's not many you're gonna find. And as far as his game, you know, the fact that he's been this successful for this long, I mean, it speaks for itself, you know. And you know, I could talk about Russ all day because you know, again, he's a brother to me. Like it's much deeper than just a teammate, you know. So I guess maybe there is some bias standard there, but as far as a human being, no, it honestly you're not gonna find very many better humans. And as far as his game, he's just passionate about it. If I'm being honest, he's just passionate about the game, about team success, about his success, which you can't do anything but respect.
Amen to all of that. Last question, Victor, and we'll let you go. Last question, we'll let you go. What's next for Victor Oladipo?
Victor Oladipo is just gonna go beyond, and he's just gonna chill up there. He's just gonna chill up there. He's gonna go beyond. He's gonna keep enjoying himself, keep enjoying the process of self mastery, keep enjoying this process of just continuing to, you know, overcome and elevate over adversity, and you know, just have fun doing it. And you know, I like I said, I'll let the powers that be work, and just keep leading with love.
Well, Victor, you know this. God has a plan for you, and you know, buckle up. It's going to be more of an amazing ride with what's left of your time here on Earth. I can tell you this: it really means a lot that you spend 45 minutes, whatever it has been. This has literally been a spectacular interview, Victor. The
Wow,
depth
thank
that
you.
you have shown, the the transparency to your soul and what you're going through, the honesty. It's next level, man. And